this. I don't want them to, I don't want anybody to miss anything if they watch it later. But there are resources available if you don't have it. And if I have not sent anything to anybody, just let me know. Believe it or not, I'm not perfect and I make mistakes. Sometimes I'll even do this. I'll say, I'll bring that to you, or I'll put that in the mail to you. And then I don't, not because I didn't mean to, just because my mind trots off to the next thing in life and forgets what I said I would do. And that happens. So it's never my intention to forget. So a good reminder is always nice. I appreciate that. But there are resources for anybody who's never even heard that that's even a possibility. I have handouts for all the things we do, including a list of the movements, the name of the movements, where I talk about, you know, having something on the wall in front of you so you don't have to use your brain to think about what's next. I did a new handout. That's not so new anymore, but it is the principles. You know, I'm always referring back to the principles. And so I wrote that out. And then I have versions of the Tai Chi movements, different versions. One comes directly from this handbook, and that's Dr. Paul Lamb. That's who wrote our program. I have warm-ups and the movements where, like, this is a poster, and I cut one of the posters apart and copied it so that I could make a handout. So some of you have what can be a poster if you just puzzle it back together. In my experience, it's the least helpful. The one that came from this handbook is the most helpful. There's also a version that is from the Arthritis Foundation, because in 2006, I think it was, I don't claim 2006 as the year I started teaching Tai Chi, but it was the year I was originally trained in this Tai Chi. It was with a partnership with the health department, and it was specifically for arthritis. And I learned it and I taught it a little bit, maybe at one, maybe two senior centers. And then that money kind of fizzled out. And it wasn't until 2012 that I was retrained in the same program. And my secret is I acted like I never had seen it before, ever in my whole life. So that's my secret. Now everyone knows it. But you know, I really wasn't that experienced with it, so it didn't hurt anything to not carry on. Like, I knew exactly what they were doing. But that helped give me a little bit of an edge as we learned. So anyway, this handbook is fairly new. This one with the falls prevention part. This is 2017, so it came out years after I started teaching it, and it has a section specific about falls prevention. So I can make copies of this, but I have that off. What I was saying to start with was that the Arthritis Foundation back in 2006 had their own version of it, and so I kept my binder, and I've made copies of it and handed out too. Mr. Jimmy, you have that one. You probably don't know which it is, but it's probably the fattest packet. I like it because the wording is a little bit easier to understand than the Dr. Lamb version. Even though it's all Dr. Lamb's, that one was just written by the Arthritis Foundation. Any resource I can give you that will help you, I'm happy to send it your way. You just let me know what you need. This past week, I changed my little sheet. You know, I've been showing y'all my 4 words Post-it note that I have on the wall. And that has evolved over time. It used to say change hands, and it used to say wave. And I started saying, and this is backwards, so we're going to practice reading backwards. Step, switch, turn, shift. And then if you see the little brackets I drew and pin next to it, that's saying, let's start combining the 2 words. So we start making the movement more slow, smooth, and continuous. And then next to these words, step, empty. And again, this is for waving hands and clouds, but step, empty. And that means whenever we make that original step, we don't put weight on it. It's an empty step. And then when we switch, that's talking about, and this says change hands. It's a little bit hard to read. Number 1, it's back. Isn't it backwards to you, Mr. Jimmy? Is this backwards?
I had switch, step, shift, turn.
Okay. Well, if you do it in a different order, it's okay. These are just our 4 words.
That's right.
Yeah,
I like that better.
But is it backwards to you? Like when you look at it, are the letters backwards?
Oh, no, that's, I can read it.
Oh, it's flipping it around for you?
Yes, I can read it. Yes, yeah, I understand what you're asking now. If it was no words, just that says be NRUT, but now it's TURN.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, technology blows my mind because when I'm looking at it on the screen, it's backwards.
No,
All right, so switch is talking about changing hands, and then turn is talking about that wave because it is kind of more of a turn than a wave. And then shift, that has to do with our weight. So I remade my little postie, and I think my old postie was in a different order, but hold on, I'm gonna do some kind of engineering right here. Look at that fanciness right here.
yeah, how
All
about
right. All right, so
that?
there's a little cheat sheet, and when we're talking about waving hands and clouds, and it's not it's focused on me right now, but when we talk about waving hands and clouds, our first one goes to the right, and we do that single whip. All right, we're ready to wave hands and clouds. This is why I changed the order, because when I do it, I step first, then I switch my hands, then I turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch. That's why I changed the word order, because I stopped and I thought, yes, those are the 4 things we do, but the first thing I do is step.
Yeah.
So here I'm coming from single whip, boom, I shift the way I get ready. What do I do first? Step. So what did you say you had? Switch?
Yeah, I had switch, step, shift, turn.
Yeah.
But I like this one. I like step, switch, turn, shift.
I do too, but that just goes to show you it doesn't matter how long you've done Tai Chi, how much you think you know how practiced you are. You can still learn and make adjustments and go, I think it might be better if I wrote this on my cheat sheet. The general idea was there. I just never really stopped and fixed it to how I actually do it. And when we go combining those words, step and switch, okay, we're here, boom, step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn. So that's combining step and switch, shift and turn. And so that's why I kind of put these 2 together. I drew the bracket and then left a little more space and then put those 2 together. And so maybe that is helpful as you do waving hands and clouds. So that was something I did this past week. I said, you know what? I'm going to throw those other pieces of paper away and fix it, because this is what I actually do.
Yeah, I like it a lot better.
Me too. So
Yep.
that's a resource. Also something else, because I'm going through training right now. You have to do all this pre-work before you go to training. And so let me show it to you. The share screen. All right, share screen. All right, there's me. Okay, share. All right, here it is. So, well, this is Dr. Lamb's online lessons. You know what? It's probably not the best example. Thank you for being patient with me, Mr. James.
Yeah, I was reading it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm fixing to get to the best version. Jocelyn is my instructor. Here.
Jocelyn Simpson.
Yeah, that is my trainer. Okay. And we have to do this pre-work before we go to our actual training. I was on here earlier trying to figure out how to look up the music. Anyway, this is what we do right here is Tai Chi for arthritis. That's the program that we do. Tai Chi arthritis 2, that's and then seated Tai Chi for arthritis. Those are the 3 programs that I'm trained in. And so I go through there's Tai Chi for arthritis, and then I wonder if the other one will say Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention. This is the stuff I have access to right now. No, these are just webinars. All right, I'll go back to Tai Chi for arthritis. So see, it says I have 100% completer. What was my point in showing you this? Lord. So I have to go through all this first. I have to take these knowledge tests. You see that all the way through. And I'm going to, because normally we wouldn't have, you like front view or back view? You don't care, right?
No, I don't care.
All right. We'll just do the front view. This right here is Dr. Lamb doing what we do. And so that's loud.
Pretty neat.
This is who wrote our program. And okay, so here's commencement. And you notice some maybe a little differences in what he does. See how far he steps out?
Yeah.
And so we don't step out that far. He's been doing Tai Chi for a long time, and sometimes he might not consider that may be unsafe for some people. But there's that waving hands and clouds. You see how, it just looks a little different.
Yeah, I think one hand is away from the other one. I do it. Mine's right over the other.
There's our open and close. That probably looks very much the same. There's our single whip. You see that little jerk kind of he does? It's circles that he creates throughout the Tai Chi. There's our waving hands and clouds. There's the shift. That's the step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn. There's our open and close. There's brush knee. And he's not doing mirror image. He's just doing a front view, just so you know. Which you've seen these moves, parry, parry, punch, parry, parry, and punch, block and close, push the tiger to the front, open and close, brush knee. This is to the left. This is to his right, sorry. Play the lute. Parry. Parry. And punch. Block and close. Push the tiger to the front and open and close. So there you go. There's Dr. Lamb doing the same program that we do. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I like that. Yep. Thanks for showing it. Yeah.
You're welcome. So
Yeah,
when Dr. Lamb teaches things, this is talking about arthritis and falls prevention, but you'll hear the way he talks.
Nope, I can't hear him.
Oh.
Yeah, can now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see where there would be kind of a language barrier, right?
Right.
This is a resource that that's out there. But it sometimes is confusing to some people. I just wanted to show you what it looked like.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Yeah.
But that's Dr. Paul Lamb. And so I have to do that one. I've completed that. And I'm in the middle. You see, I'm at 55% of Tai Chi for Arthritis Part 2. And then I haven't even started the seated one. But, no, wait. Yeah, I have. I'm at 29%. Well, I'm better than I thought I was. So,
good.
Next week, oh, that's my, okay, let me regroup. Stop share. Okay, there I am. So next week, I will be in Ackworth at training for my certification. So we won't have class next week. However, you can still get on the YouTube page and practice using those tutorials, or you know, whatever you want to do. Repeat a different class, but nobody will have class next week. So you may still have the pop-up on your Claris, because it's just easier to go ahead and set all of it up.
Right.
But I will do my best, and I will let Alex see. I know she'll do her best about reminding you that there's not class next week. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So I'll get her to send an email, since there's a lot of people that's not here. But let's get practicing some of our Tai Chi. We always start with our warm-up of opening, closing, walking around, just getting our bodies generally warmed up. We don't like to do exercise with cold muscles. It sets ourselves up for injury. And that goes against everything that we're trying not to do is we're not trying to have injury. I'm so used to this being up there. I looked to look at it and it was behind me. So those posters are handy. The guide. So let's get in that nice stable stance. We've done our warm-ups plenty of times together. Let's go through our warm-ups without a lot of the talking. I'll guide you through. Let's start with our neck. Practice that diaphragmatic breathing throughout these movements. These warm-ups for our neck. And generally we do about 3 per movement. Or 3 per side where applicable. Our other neck exercise, we follow this hand as we look towards that shoulder, stretching that neck, coming back to center and switching. The more you do this, the more flexible your neck will be. For our shoulders, we roll our shoulders forward and then back. Big circle with our hands. It's a great one to practice breath. Inhaling up and exhaling down. For our spine, grab our ball, separate those hands. One hand pushes up, the other down, stretching that spine. Come back to our ball and switch to the other side. With breath, I like to inhale as I come to my ball and exhale as I separate. Now let's take our ball side to side. Short little trip. Not going as far as we can, just a small trip side to side, warming up our spine. Now for our hips, heel forward, hands back, pause, and toe back like a kickstand, hands forward. Our weight's being held by that one leg this whole time. Might feel a little bit of a wobble, and that's okay. Having something close by to hold on to in case you lose that balance. It's nice. I generally will have this wall very close, or this table. A reminder to keep your body upright, not lean into any of the movements. Side to side, shift the weight, tap the foot, not leaning, staying within our frame. our knees. Loose fist, no squeezing of our fist. Arthritis wouldn't like that. Shift, lift, tap and punch. Bring it back. Shift, lift, tap and punch. Don't forget to breathe. Tend to hold our breath when we're being challenged. So just remind yourself to breathe as you remind yourself to have that good posture and move slow, smooth, and continuously, even in warm-up. Now we're going to step out. Step, small step, shift to that front foot, leaving the back foot flat on the floor. Punch the opposite hand, itch your eye if it scratches, or scratch your eye if it itches, however it goes. Do you scratch an itch or do you itch a scratch? This warm-up move right here is probably one of the most useful ones in terms of weight shift, because we shift side to side and we shift forward and back. So in our basic 6, we shift weight to the side as we do our waving hands and clouds. And then our advanced 6, we do a lot of step forward, follow step, and step back, follow step. So this particular movement, they say it's for our knees, but it really does give us that great example of weight shifting, of shifting forward and back, bringing the foot, shifting side as we change feet. So great example of weight shift. Next is for our ankles. So we shift the weight and we go heel toe, working on that flexibility of our ankle joint, helping us become more mobile when we have flexible joints. Bring it back, shift the weight, heel toe. Bring it back, shift the weight, big toe, little toe, side to side, a full range of motion of that ankle joint. You can move these ankles even more if you're seated. You can do ankle circles that you don't necessarily have the luxury of doing when you're standing. So just experiment with that. And also, if you find yourself seated for a long time, here's my little rolly stool. You know, just one ankle at the time, where one is stable onto the floor, and you can roll those ankles, heel toe in the air, switch, roll those ankles, heel and toe in the air. Or if you have a back to your seat, which I don't, you can put both feet in the air and windshield wiper them. But that really does help with the flexibility of your ankle. So not just standing, but seated. And it can help with blood circulation. So if you're seated a lot and you just need that circulation of your feet, or of your legs, pumping your feet like that helps with the blood flow. All right, that's our warm-ups. Any questions?
Oh, I'm tired already.
Hmm?
I'm tired already.
All right, we're done. But you know, you can just stick with warm-ups. You just do only warm-ups. You don't even have to move to the Tai Chi for arthritis, actual Tai Chi movements, the basic 6, advanced 6, and you can still get benefits from the warm-ups. How? You follow principle. And so with our principle, and I always talk about slow, smooth, continuous. I always talk about upright posture, weight transfer, open joints by not locking your elbows or locking your knees, And then the ones I probably don't talk as much about are gentle resistance. And that is when you move as if you're moving through water or very heavy air. So even when you do that neck warm up and you bring those hands up, when you push, you know, it's not a big deal for me to move my hands in, but if I'm doing gentle resistance, it's just like I'm pushing through, pushing out. So I'm engaging muscle that I don't necessarily have to use, but that's part of that movement control of Tai Chi. And that's one of our principles that we can do even in our warm-ups. And then the other one I don't talk so much about is called Jing, which is mental quietness. And it's hard to experience mental quietness in a class setting because that teacher always running their mouth. So I can talk about the teacher since that's me. But I try to give you some moments of Jing, Jing, so you can experience it, but that's really going to come in practice. And so even if you just stick with the warm-ups, following principles, you can get all those benefits. Because, you know, we do a lot of weight transfer when we go to our lower body joints, our weight-bearing joints. We do a lot of the weight shifting, and that's a principle. All the time we keep that upright posture. So that doesn't mean that the other movements aren't great too, and we do like to do those. So let's go through our basic 6, starting with commencement. And I'm going to do mirror image, so I scoot over here because we go to the right first, and single whip, waving hands and clouds, and then we go to the left after that. So let's start with our commencement. We bring our hands up and down, shift right. Step left, bring those hands in and up. Shift left as they go out. Bring that right foot forward. Hands come back, open and close. Single whip. Shift left, step right. Push, turn, separate. Following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot back, hands down. Here we go with our 4 words. Step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn, step and switch, shift and turn to the middle for open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right. Whoops, I said the wrong words. Shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, following that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot back, waving hands and clouds. Here goes our 4 words. Step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn. Let's combine them. Step and switch, shift and turn. Step and switch, shift and turn. Step and switch, shift and turn. Step and switch, shift and turn, and to the middle for open and close. So that gives you an example of how we changed our 4 words and how we can combine them and separate them. The more we practice, the more smooth it's going to be, and that step and switch, shift and turn, or step, switch, turn, shift will start looking more like Dr. Lamb's looked, where it was just all kind of one movement. There's not like the 4-word separation, even though all 4 are happening. But our goal is to be more smooth and continuous with all of our movements, even as we transfer or even as we go to the next move. So even from single whip to waving hands in clouds, it's as if this whole thing is one movement and you never stopped. It was just one thing. So that's our goal, and we get there through practice. So let's practice doing it more smooth and continuous. So here we go from the top with commencement. I'll just call out the names of the movements. Commence. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. Close it out. So that gave you a different look at smooth and continuous. Sometimes the words keep us from being smooth and continuous because we have to take time for the words. Even on my videos, the one that has the words versus the one that doesn't, there's a big difference in time because it takes time to say all those words. So now I'm going to not say any words. We can experience some of that zhing or that mental quietness as we focus and go for a slow, smooth, continuous through our basic 6 movements. Here we go, and commence. So maybe you got to experience a little zhing. And what I'm hoping that you're starting to experience is, why did it seem so much longer when I first started and now it seems real short? Have you experienced that yet?
Experienced that, and that I am getting kind of smoother with it.
Whoop, whoop. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
But
Ooh, ooh.
look how long this took.
Hey, I'm telling you, it just
I'm not
takes
really good.
time. It
I
takes
ain't really
time.
good. Yeah, that's what I mean. I get better, but I
It's
still have
nothing.
to watch you. I move after you do.
That's okay. That's okay. That's part of the learning process. Be patient with yourself and always know Dr. Lamb says there is no perfect Tai Chi. It's a journey, and getting better and in learning and getting craftier with the way we do our movement. I'm still learning, and I have been knowing this since, now that you know my secret, 2006. So that's a long time to have been doing something and still, needing that refresher and needing that practice. And so I'm really good at this part, the basic six. I feel very comfortable with our advanced six because I teach more of those. But when it comes to part two, I got a lot of more practicing to do. And that's okay. What fun would it be if we had reached the pinnacle of, perfection in Tai Chi? What would we do? We wouldn't have anything to work towards. So there's our basic six. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to do it turned around for anybody who's watching that likes the turned around version. So, as we saw in Dr. Lamb's video, he does face on, but he does not do mirror image. So if you ever watch that video that I played before and try to follow that, it is not mirror image, and that may be confusing if you watch it. He does have a turned back around version that in that video too. That's the one I prefer. That's the one I watch when I'm practicing. So knowing that when we do Tai Chi basic six, we go to the right first with our single whip and waving hands and clouds, and then we go to the left. So I scoot over here so I have space. All right, and if you watch my videos from when I first started teaching Tai Chi online, on virtual, to now, I've gotten better at it too, because I have a better understanding of where to stand. Used to, I might run into the wall. All right, here we go. And basic six, commence. There's our turned around back version. All right, do you want to review any of our basic six, or do you want to start working with our advanced six, starting with brush knee?
No, I did some brush knee on the last time.
Uh-huh.
So I guess we could try some of that.
All right.
It was pretty hard, but
it is. The reason why it's, to me, in my opinion, the reason why it's so challenging is because we're going from facing forward to facing to the left. So in Tai Chi, we don't do any kind of jumping stuff. So we're not going to go from facing forward and just jump over here. That's not very Tai Chi of us. So we have to do weight shifting to get us there. And the way we do weight shifting is to shift left, right toe in, shift right, step left, shift left, and follow step right. So you see, we shift, 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 and follow step. So there's that kind of a swaying motion without swaying because we're shifting to one foot. So we can move this one, and I always think of that one as the arrow. The right foot turned in towards the left says, hey, I'm going left, shift, and you can take this left foot and either do, I call it a prepare step, or you can go from here to go ahead and stepping, shift, and then follow step. And that follow step gets no weight on it. The heel is so close to the floor, only a paper could fit underneath of it. Throughout our advanced 6, anytime we follow step, there's no weight on the follow step foot because it is the next foot that we move. If for safety purposes, you need to put weight on the follow step foot, just know you have to remove the weight before you step it. That sounds kind of stupid to even say out loud, but you cannot move a foot off the floor until you get the weight off of it. So we know that. But that follow step foot doesn't get weight because it's the next one that steps. So when we shift, follow step, that foot doesn't have weight because it's my next step. So that's one of those rules that's gonna apply all the way through advanced 6, and that the follow step foot gets no weight. But it looks like it's flat on the floor, but the heel is just barely off the floor. All right, so I'm going to turn around and do it from the back. Remember that in advanced 6, we go to the left first, whereas in basic 6, we went to the right first. So the movement looks like this. We shift left, right toe in, shift right, step left, shift left, and follow step right. So the right toe and the left heel are somewhat in the same line. So you're not stepping beside, it's further back whenever you follow step. So again, we're just doing the footwork for brush knee. We shift left, right toe in, shift right, step left, shift left, follow step right. How is that footwork going, Mr. James?
Yeah, that's good. That's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was having trouble with.
To me, this is the most difficult one because of that direction change. And so sometimes just forgetting the hand movement and just practicing the footwork makes us feel more comfortable with that movement so we can add in the handwork. But it's shift left, right toe in, shift right, step left, shift left, follow step right. So if you watch that video, you may hear me call out a prepare step. And so that's this right here. Shift left, right toe in. Shift right. You can take that left foot and prepare to step. So it kind of helps you make that transition to turn. So if you hear me go shift left, right toe in, shift right, prepare, and step, shift, follow step. Either way is right. I don't particularly like the prepare step because when your feet are real close together, you're a little more likely to be unbalanced. So then I step out. So I like shift, turn, shift, step, shift, follow step. But you can play around with that footwork and see what works best for you. Mirror image from the front, shift left, right toe in, shift right, step left, shift, follow step. So that's our footwork of brush knee. Our handwork looks like this. We're coming from open and close. So this being my right hand, it's going to come out and lay out in front of me, okay? So my right hand goes here. My left hand comes down, protects my elbow. So it's here. I've always called that lay hands. It reminds me of dominoes. Boom, lay hands. So when that lay hands happens is when you turn that foot in. So it's shift left, right toe in, lay hands. Shift left, right toe in, lay hands. So that's that first movement in hands together. Now I'm going to shift right, separate. That's when I step. Shift. Okay. So when that shift happens, this right hand is going to come back and push with the weight shift, follow step. Here's the whole movement. Brush knee. Shift left, right toe in, lay hands. Shift right, separate, step left, shift as I push that right hand and follow step right. Again, brush knee, shift left, right toe in, lay hands, shift right, separate, step left, shift as I push and follow step right. How's that?
That's a lot better. Yeah.
Good. Well, keep practicing that brush knee movement. There is a brush knee video. It does talk about that prepare step. So it says shift left, right toe in, lay hands. Shift right, separate and prepare. Step, shift, throw a pinch or push that hand and follow step. So I'm kind of changing some of the wording based on the actual movement. You know, this right here is not how a pitch is thrown, but it feels kind of like you're throwing something. So throw a pitch is valid, but it's kind of more of a push follow step. So just play around with that and practice. And then next time in 2 weeks, remember we don't have class next week because I'll be in training. We will do play the lute. Brush knee to me is most difficult because we're changing movements. But that play the lute from the front looks like this. Play the lute. Boom. Easy enough, right? Just a change of hands, step back and shift, follow step. We got this. All right, let's give ourselves a nice fist massage. It's amazing how time goes by so fast. Our legs work so hard for us when we are in class. All right. Tense and release. Tense, release. Big circle. Good time to practice breath. One more. We have our right fist that represents our strength. And anytime we make a fist in Tai Chi, it's always loose. We don't squeeze our fist. Our left hand, our fingers are together. That represents our friendship. And our thumb in is our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility. We put those together in mutual respect. We say namaste. So very good, Mr. Jimmy. It's been a joy to have you as my solo artist today.
Yeah, I tried to be good.
But we do have the recording for anybody to come back and can see the Dr. Lamb video that I shared. Remind me of any resources that you don't have that either I said I would send you and I didn't, or that I never even offered, but I'm willing. Just let me know. See Dr. Lamb do exactly what we do, but it does look a little bit differently. And then, of course, our review of Brush Knee and hopes for our future of Play the Lute.
That's right.
All right, so I'll see y'all in 2 weeks, but let me know if you have any questions in the meantime, and I'll be happy to help you in any way, okay?
Okay, thanks. You've been good.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.